Hi everyone, Aimée Cartier here. In this video, I am going to talk about my Own Your Intuition program, some of the details and frequently asked questions that I get, including the class structure and how much time you need in order to do the program. So let's start with the class structure. We meet every other week for 2 hours time over conference call. During this 2-hour time period, generally speaking, the first hour is where we share. We talk about what happened when we use the tool. We give our real life experiences. You ask any questions that you have. You hear from your fellow classmates, which is always so fun and enriching. The second hour of time is where you learn the new tool or tools of class. So that is the structure of the class. What often surprises people about my classes is that they are practical. So you will not hear me talking about things like astral travel or how to know what a person's name is before they say it, any weird, I hate to use that word, but psychic things like that. My classes are practical, and that is what they focus on. So I've had my students come to class telling us stories about how their intuition saved their life, about how it helped them not miss a flight, about how they garnered a new client for their business by using their intuition, or in some cases, they increased their income by hundreds of dollars. They have become a better parent because they've used their intuition to navigate specific parenting challenges or ameliorate their relationships, their partnerships. I've had multiple students tell me, have their coworkers say to them, especially those in high stress jobs. I'm thinking of some of those particular students whose coworkers have approached them saying, "What are you doing different? You are so calm and peaceful and collected. Tell me, what is your secret?" Okay, so my classes are focused on intuition as it helps your life in very practical ways. What is the time commitment for the class? So as I said, we meet 2 hours every other week. Including that, you will also need approximately half an hour, maybe a little less, to read the documents that come with class. So each class comes with a document that is anywhere from 6 pages to 30 pages. It depends on the tool that we're using or learning about. So you want to add some time for that. Half an hour tops, probably less. Another thing that you will want to have time for is partner work. In each class, you will be partnered with one other person or possibly a triad, depends on the size of your class. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but you'll want to schedule about 30 minutes. And that again is over a 2-week time period, one 30-minute period over 2 weeks. Most of the tools that you will be learning in my class are ones that you will be practicing as you go about your life. So you do not need extra time in order to do them. You will be using the tools, doing whatever it is that you're doing on your way to work, picking up your kids, whatever your life entails. There are a couple exceptions. So for example, meditation, when we discuss that as a tool. If you don't already have a meditation practice, you obviously will need to find time in your schedule in order to carve out that practice. I work really hard with people to help them make it seamless. So I give you lots of tips on that, and we troubleshoot it because it's important that these tools fit easily into your life so that you can do them on a regular basis and you have time for it. And I have had many people tell me throughout the years that I've been teaching this, ones who, for example, don't have a meditation practice or maybe always wanted to but felt intimidated by it, who've told me that with my guidance, they've been able to set up a regular meditation practice with ease. Okay, so that's one example, exception. There's probably one other one. So all told, over a 2-week time period, you're going to need 3 to 5 hours. And that includes the 2 hours of class every other week. Okay, so what if I have to miss a class? That's a question that I get often. Immediately following our class, that same day and evening, you will get, in addition to your document, you will also get an MP3 of our class for the evening. So if you need to miss a class, then you just simply listen to the MP3 afterward. I always request of my students that if you do need to miss a class, that you try to listen to the MP3 of class as soon as possible so that you have enough time to practice. Because like I said, I am really interested in, I want this to be easeful. I want these techniques to be able to be in your life effortlessly. That's one of the reasons why I structure the class as I do, so that you learn a tool, you have time and spaciousness to practice it and dial it. We come back together, we talk about it, you learn another tool. And over time, each one gradually builds on the next until you've seamlessly created for yourself a structure that is allowing you to align and with your own intuition, hear it naturally, easily, and that you have the tools you need in order for this to just become second nature. Okay. Another question that I get is, why are your programs so long? Because sometimes people want something quick. They just want a 4-week thing or a 6-week thing really quick. And I want to say that my programs are not designed to just be a shot in the arm. I try to make a variety of programs in order to fulfill those needs for people, because I understand maybe you don't have 7 months time. However, with this program in general, it is important to me that you are able to master these tools. So like I already said, we take it at a space that is easily integratable into your life, the way that we learn a tool, practice, etc. I had a mentor when I was first starting out my programs who told me that if you want to make lasting change for people, help them make lasting change, then you need to be with them for 6 months or more. 6 months, she said. So I take that to heart, because it is important to me that you have these tools forever. I consider them forever tools. Have been using them for 2 decades in my life. I have students who I see who studied with me 7 years ago who still tell me that they use these on a regular basis. Okay. I want you to be able to be in a situation where you can easily and gracefully integrate and use these tools and master them as we are together. So that is why I keep my program at the length that it is. Partner work. Sometimes people wonder about that, or they're worried about it. And I always have to laugh when I kind of think about this, because some of my students who had the most anxiety about this to begin with, like what is it going to be like with my partner, etc., have formed friendships with their partners that outlasted class. They are still connected on a regular basis with the partners that they met during their classes with me. So it's just prior to, or when we start our partner work, I send out a document that has all the guidelines for your partner work. So they are hopefully very structured. In the document that you get, that includes your homework, there's detailed instructions about what you will discuss with your partner. So there's a lot of guidelines and support around your partner work. I also talk about how we're not processing with our partner, nor are we doing that in class. I expect everybody to do their own internal work, absolutely, but it's not something that we do while we're in class together. So we give each other the bullet points of like, this is what happened, here's where I landed, etc. But we're not having that experience of processing. The same goes for partner work. So again, this is something that most people have found, I don't know if I can think of exceptions, but most people find it really helpful. And one of the other reasons that I do it is because I am really big on articulating. If you are in my classes, you will hear me say over and over that articulating these practices and the tools and what you've learned and what you are doing is key to locking these understandings and practices in on a deeper level. So I want to make sure you have enough time in order to actually say what happened. That is why we do partner work, so that there's an extra built-in thing there, because we have an hour in class to share. So I want you to have the time that you need in order to talk about it, because it really helps it sink in on another level. So that is about partner work. Sometimes people are worried about sharing. They're like, do I have to talk in class? Because I'm kind of uncomfortable with that. And I always say, yes, you have to talk in class. And I just detailed one of the reasons why I think it's so important. But I also want to give the framework of I'm very clear about making our class a sacred container. And we have rules or guidelines, I say, that we follow that are in your welcome packet when you first after you first register for class. So essentially what I want to say is that even my students who have worried about it the most have found that our class is a very safe container, and it is very supportive for them sharing whatever their experience was using the tools. Okay, so if you were worried about that, I would say just see what happens, because it's probably not going to be as big of a deal as you think it will be. It's usually really fun, and it's fun to tell other people what's happened for you, and it's really fun to hear everybody else's experiences too. Okay, so why not Zoom is another question I get, right? By this time in our lives, many people are Zoomed out, but the truth is I have been very specifically not using Zoom for years. I've been teaching these classes since 2015, and I have always been on the phone. And that is a very purposeful choice that I make, because I want you to be able to be free to integrate and listen to the information in a way that is comfortable for you. So you don't have to be put on the spot. You don't have to worry like people are looking at you. You don't have to think like, oh my God, my bedroom light makes my face look haggard. Or you can be in your pajamas, you can doodle, you can be in a private space essentially by being on the phone and able to integrate the information in the way that is best for you. So even though I know Zoom exists and I do teach on Zoom in certain circumstances, with my longer programs, I very purposely keep us on the phone, because I want you to have the spaciousness in order to integrate the tools in the way that is best for you, and not have to worry about what does your background look like, what does her background look like, etc. Okay. Time zone differences are another question that I get from time to time. So this is very specific to the person. I've literally had students from all over the world join us. And so it depends, where you are, and related to Pacific time, which is what I'm on, is very specific to you. But what I will say is, in certain circumstances, when the timing just didn't align, or for example, I've had students on the East Coast be like, I literally just cannot stay awake until the end of our class. So what we do then, and I encourage this kind of thought processing to happen before you sign up, because you want to know that you can get the most out of it. But in those situations, what we've done is have that student share at the top of the class, and then sometimes they just log off and they make time in their schedule the day following our class in order to listen. So they're still sharing, they're still hearing from the community, they're still getting all the tools, and they're doing so in a time frame that still gives them the 2-week time in order to practice their tools. But that is an exception that we have made. So I've already mentioned that every class is recorded, and you get the recording that evening after class with your documents. So there is a little bit of a wiggle room if you have a situation where the time zone just doesn't work for you. I always encourage people in whatever way is possible to be at class and engaged, because I just see that people get so much more out of it than when they're removed from class. Also, because you get the support and the accountability as you go along when you're in class. I'm like, so what happened for you, etc. So that's a little bit on time zones. Sometimes I get the question, especially with my empaths and the empath programs that I do, I am asked, will I be triggered in our classes? So I've already mentioned that we don't actually do processing while we're in class together. It's not like regurgitating and discovering it all while you're there. You are, like I already said, if things come up for you, I absolutely, and I don't mean to say that things are going to come up, but like life happens, right? Like things come up in life for people. So this isn't, the space of class isn't a time where we are processing that. We generally, students give the bullet points of like, so this is going on, this is how I integrated it with these, using these tools, etc. So, of course I can't guarantee that you wouldn't be triggered, but generally speaking, my classes aren't that. Will we be in contact outside of class, or can I ask questions as they arise, is another question that I get from time to time. This light is coming in from my skylight. Yes, we are in touch. So we are connected via WhatsApp as the class goes along. So we have a group chat, and almost daily I send you reminders of whatever it is, whatever tool that we are working on at the moment. So those are just really intended to jog your memory, because the practices that I teach are truly not hard. They're very simple, and that's one of the reasons that has them have such long-term impact for people, because they're so simple. You can keep doing them your whole life and you don't forget, and you don't need like, a lot of extra things. You just need yourself in order to do them. So we are connected via WhatsApp, and I send you reminders over there. That's also a space where people give shout outs of like, just rocked this tool, this happened, or ask questions as they go along. Sometimes 2 weeks is a long time period. So I always encourage my students to be like, if a question arises, put it on WhatsApp. If I can answer it on WhatsApp in a way that works, then I will absolutely do that at the time. If I can't, then we bookmark it for class and we talk about it then. So we are connected the whole time via WhatsApp, you guys, my head and this light. So another question or something that I want to address is, why do I have an application for this program? And it is important. The reason that I have an application is important. For a lot of reasons. One, I want to make sure that the program is right for you, but your application is your starting point. And it's kind of shocking to think about it when you begin the program, because whatever's happening for you, or whatever ways you want to dial your intuition or have it working for you, are really big. But what happens is, over time, you change so much. You have so many incremental, huge positive shifts in your life, that the things that were bothering you aren't bothering you 4 months down the road, because of the practices that you're implementing. So the reason why I do application is severalfold. One of them is that is a starting point for us. We circle back around toward the end of my class, and we look back at your application and see, okay, where are you now? Did you achieve what you set out to be? Is there anything lingering? So they help us get a starting point for you, but they also help us assess, did you achieve your goals? Did you get your intention met? Did you meet your intention that you set out for yourself? So that is why I do application. So that being said, there is an application for this class, and you can find the link on my website to do it, aimeecartier.com/ownyourintuition. There is also a link to get on my calendar for a free exploratory call, which I do for all of my students as well. This is a chance where we go over your application, and you also can just ask me whatever questions arise. Hopefully, this video will have answered a lot of those, but one way or the other, that is a space for you to ask me questions. And so I hope you will join us. It is so much fun and just life-changing. Again and again and again, I hear my students tell me after they are finished, wow, I know now that I have it all inside. And that is my main goal, to help you understand you have the wisdom, and these are the tools that you need to access it and go flourish, be in the world. So, all my love.